Hip Hop and R&B on 103.5. The Beat is popping. Keith live. And I got my brother. Where the circle be at?
Right here, right here.
All right, Brother Lyle in the building. Welcome, King.
Peace and blessings to you and the listening audience. Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. All right. Now, listen, you brought some special guests with you. You're not on our Circle of Brotherhood business today. You on some other business. What's up?
We are on worldwide business. This is if I heard Kool and the Gang playing in the background right now, I just hear celebration playing, brother.
That's what's up.
Because there's some things to celebrate going on in Miami, and in large part because of these two brothers right here.
All right, let's get them to introduce themselves.
My name is Sabash Katil with the Scaling Safety Initiative.
All right, Sabash, don't be so serious on this show.
I'm going to lighten up.
Okay, please don't be so serious. Give me that intro one more time with some, you know what I mean? Come on, man. Whatever you say, we going to believe you. I promise you. You ain't got to be so serious, King.
Sabash with Scaling Safety. Oh, that was fun. All right.
We're glad to have you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Man.
Yes, sir. Peace, family. Akila Sherrills. I'm the executive director of the Community-Based Public Safety Collective, also with Scaling Safety. Excited to be here, brother.
All right. So what is Scaling Safety? Can somebody break that down for me?
Yeah, Scaling Safety is an investment initiative where we're identifying 5 locales, including Miami-Dade County, where we want to spend the next 5 years supporting community-based safety in those 5 locales with the vision of supporting all the groups on the ground that keep those communities safe.
Now, Sabash, before we come on over to our big bro, I want to break that down for our people real quick.
Brother.
Out of all of the cities in the United States of America, all of the counties, Miami-Dade was chosen to get this work so we can continue to do the work that we do with violence intervention and prevention.
And boy, your timing is amazing because we need it now more than ever with fundings being cut and all these different things that are happening and some things that the Brotherhood, has been doing and has to deal with, now. So let's break down what exactly, let's break it down now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So Scaling Safety Initiative was formed by the Community-Based Public Safety Collective and the Alliance for Safety and Justice, 2 national organizations that do criminal justice reform and violence intervention. And we were awarded the largest social impact fund in the world.
Oh, wow.
It's called Audacious. We raised about $63 million to invest in five key cities across the country, Miami being one of the key cities, to help build the infrastructure of community violence intervention agencies to truly serve as a complementary strategy to policing in cities and to continue to reduce violence and crime. And so organizations like Circle of Brotherhood was one of our key partners over the past 4 years, in terms of supporting with training, with investment, with capacity building as an organization. And so over the next 5 years, we're going to move about $30 million to these 5 cities. We're going to invest in intervention and prevention agencies. We're going to focus our strategy in Miami Gardens. Initially, Subash is going to talk about a report that we just produced. And then we're going to build out in concentric circles. And so the overall goal is to put public safety in public hands, family.
Why did you think that Miami-Dade County was so important out of all of the cities, like Brother Lyle said, y'all chose here? I mean, we appreciate it, but we're curious to want to know why.
I can get to that because there's a Brother Lyle, because there's a Romania Dukes, because there's a Tangela Sears, because there's a Megan Hobson, because there's a Trinice Bryant. Like, when I think of all these folks in Miami-Dade that do the work, survivors of violence that turn their pain into purpose, folks that may have done things in the past and not are trying to stop those things from happening. There are superstars in Miami that have been keeping the community safe, and we're seeing reductions of violence that we haven't seen in most other cities. Violence might be going down in other places, but you don't see the community-based efforts to, keeping our community safe is all of our responsibilities. But I've seen so many people over the last few days. I lived in Miami for 15 years, and I've seen so many people who take that responsibility seriously and just make it their life mission. That's why.
Yeah, well, those names you mentioned are really, really solid. Here's my thing on it, though, too, and Brother Lyle could attest to this because we've worked together, too, on some initiatives that I had based on nonviolence. And my approach was, trying to speak to the people who are responsible for, currently responsible for some of the violence and then showing them other options, right? Mm-hmm. And using this radio station and using my connection with the artists to give them a safe space and understand that, hey, listen, we can live like this versus that.
That's right.
Right? Does the organization also see those, maybe some kind of new wave of opportunities to connect with groups that are taking a different approach, maybe?
Absolutely. This is all about investing in alternative strategies, complementary strategies, hiring credible messengers in the neighborhood. Community violence intervention is a place-based strategy that trains residents, and primarily ex-gang members, ex-convicts, those who are the key perpetrators of violence or the victims of violence, to incentivize their role in this work. Because who better to intervene and mediate a conflict, to peaceful resolve? They live in the neighborhood. When situations happen, we know about it. We don't have to wait for law enforcement to parachute into the neighborhood to try to address situation. They're not, law enforcement doesn't do mediation. They don't do intervention. They don't do a lot of the follow-up work, right? Yeah. And so we know that this work is handled by folks in the neighborhood who have big hearts, who probably have had the experience. In most cases, they might not have the training and they might not have the resources. So folks find that at the Circle of Brotherhood. And so our role is to make sure that the Circle of Brotherhood has the resources, has the training support, all of those things that they need in order to continue to be effective, right? And so that is the ultimate, approach. And we've seen the impact of this work in cities all across the country. So, Subhash is going to talk about the report, in which they've seen significant decreases in 2 of the zip codes that we're working in here. But, I've just finished, not finished, but I've been working in Newark, New Jersey for the past 10 years. Newark was on the top 10 most violent city list for almost 50 consecutive years. And so when my brother, Mayor Ras Baraka, was elected in 2014, he brought me from L.A. to Newark to help him to build out his community violence intervention strategy, because I have a long history doing this. Me and my brother and him organized a peace treaty between the Crips and Bloods in L.A. in 1992 with Jim Brown.
So we've been doing this work.
He being modest, Papa Keith. This brother right here, Brother Kid, he wanted the goats of this work. He wanted the goats.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. And so, we started 104 homicides in Newark, in 2014. Last year, we had 37, right?
Wow.
The organization we started, 16, credible messengers from the neighborhood. Today, that agency is ran by Ray Chavis, who spent 23 years in prison, reputable cat from the neighborhood. They got 76 staff. They run the city's trauma recovery center, their victims advocacy work, their high-risk intervention work. They do safe passage at 22 schools in the South Ward. They reduce violence and crime so significantly that I got tapped, because I helped develop the strategy for the mayor to run the White House initiative, right? 16 cities. Miami was one of those cities.
Is that the one when you went up to the
White House?
Exactly.
And I'll be honest with you, we would not have been there if it hadn't been for our brother Kid. I'm just keeping it straight for our people.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Big ups to Mayor Kava, because she kicked in the door. It was a 15-city initiative, and she was like, nah, Miami is the 16th. And we was like, Miami is the 16th.
Nice.
And you know what? It turned out that Miami has all of the elements of literally being like one of the model cities in the country for community violence intervention and community-based public safety. And so that's why we're here.
Talking about Model City, right? That's actually a community
Yep,
here in
yep.
Miami, as you may know as well. Let's talk, if he mentions this report card one more time, without you telling us about this report card.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Papa Keith, people listening, they better sit down. They're not ready for what they're about to hear.
Okay, Brother Lyle. Let's hear this report card results.
So I know you're the interviewer here, but let me ask you a question.
Sure, sir.
If I asked you 10 years ago what the most violent zip code in Miami would be, what would it be?
I don't know what Sistrunk zip code is.
No, Miami. I'm talking about Miami.
Oh, in Miami, sorry. I would probably say Ghouls.
Failed the test. 33147. 33147, which represents Liberty City, right? So
Got you.
right.
The birthplace of Grand Theft Auto, right?
Yeah, so
Model City.
right. Exactly. So 33147, last 15 years, last 10 years, last 7 years, last 5 years has always had the highest number of homicides in Miami-Dade County, right? When we start looking at homicide statistics from the medical examiner's office, we saw a couple different things. One thing that we saw, the counties had a 40% reduction in homicides, right? But that 40% reduction in homicides is good news, was driven almost entirely by the reduction of homicides in 2 zip codes, And the zip codes that represent roughly Liberty City, Allapattah, Brownsville, so 33147 and 33142. Now, when we're talking about reductions, I'm talking about there was around 30 homicides in around 2020, 2021. You had about 30 homicides in the zip codes that represent Liberty City, 33147. That went all the way down to 5 in 2024, right? And so you had an 83% reduction in firearms homicides in 33147 and in 33142 in the areas, some parts of Liberty City, some parts of Brownsville, Allapattah, like, a few different neighborhoods. You had a 60% reduction. More importantly, in 1 year, in 2023, after you had the White House initiative, after you had even, the sheriff had, Community Shield, there was those things. You had the Carrie P. Meek Foundation putting $8 million into community groups. You had a reduction over 70% in 1 year in that zip code from 18 to 5. So you had 5 firearms homicides last year in 33147. It's the first time it went to the single digits since I've been looking at the numbers.
Papa Keith knocked it all the way down from the number 1 to now the number 10 zip code in terms of homicide.
So the question for me now is, gentlemen, what can we do? What do you need from us? And when I say us, I mean us as the people. We hear you. We heard your message. We love what you're doing. You gave us the statistics. You're working with a group that we trust and love. What do we do now?
I'm gonna say things as briefly as possible. Number one, celebrate this.
Yes.
One funeral is too many.
Yes.
Right. One funeral is too many. One homicide is too many. One shooting is too many. I don't want to negate any of that. Right. But when you go from 30 to 5, when you see those numbers, those are less funerals. Those are less grieving parents. Those are more children able to enjoy safety. First, one, we have to acknowledge good news while it's good news. That's number one, right? Number two, the other thing the report plots out is that there was a lot of good guys in the story. There are a lot of people that wear white hats. I like black hats, but there's a lot of good guys in this story, right? Those good guys include folks on the ground, people that were doing survivor service work, right? People that are doing violence intervention work. It included the community doing what it needed to do to keep each other safe. A lot of the resources that went to support those community groups has sunsetted, right? Or has went away, right? So the next conversation we have to have is, most of the people I named, other folks like Denise Brown, I'm going to keep naming names because I feel like those are my bosses in this work, right? They're going to keep doing this work whether they get funded or not. A lot of them never got funded before until the last couple of years, right? But if we don't, why wouldn't we want to support strategies that created that much safety? If we're telling you right now, people can come to Miami-Dade in 10 years and be like, how did you reduce violence? They can ask the sheriff that, they can ask the police that, they can ask Brother Lyle that, they can ask a lot of the survivor leaders I just mentioned that. Why wouldn't we want to keep supporting that, right? If Miami could be the example where people take pilgrimages to learn how to create safer and more peaceful communities, why don't we want to support that? I think that's the moment we're in. Those are the questions we need to ask.
Got you. That's what's up. Where can people go to get more information about the work that you're doing? Maybe even throw a couple dollars in to help be a part of that. Yes, the donations and the things that are really are able to fund these initiatives.
To check out the website. So go.
No, please say the website.
The website is scalingsafety.info, and you could also check out the report. So it's scalingsafety.info, and you could check out the report. Now, sorry, go ahead, brother.
No, brother. The thing that I love to do, family, is I like to ask for the money. Because the revolution got to be financed.
Yes.
At the end of the day, and so two big things. If you're a foundation, if you're an individual that has wealth and that can give money, please donate to Circle of Brotherhood. Don't donate to us. Donate to Circle of Brotherhood. Donate to Uma Futures. Donate to the GATE program. Donate to our brother that we just met with this morning, right?
Blaze Carter.
Okay,
with the King Carter Foundation, right? Donate to Carrie Meeks because they are an intermediary that is re-granting dollars to a lot of organizations on the ground. So I would say the first line of defense is support the organizations in the city that are doing the work. The second thing I would say is buy-in. We make everything, the business. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop culture is culture worldwide because of our investment into it and our belief, right? And so I would say for the people out there in the streets that are experiencing violence and probably don't believe that all of this is real, I'm like, please come visit the organization, invest some time, volunteer a little bit, because this is how, when we have buy-in from the community, we get buy-in from, bigger places. And then the
Absolutely.
final thing, I would say that the scaling safety initiative is kind of a intermediary in a sense, And so if you are a hedge fund manager that got hundreds of millions of dollars that you want to invest, I would say reach out to us, via the website. Let's sit down and have a conversation. We're super sophisticated in terms of how to do the work and how to, create the matrix and the data, to show the impact. And, we'll work with you on it.
Brothers, I appreciate the works and the research and everything that you're doing, Brother Lau. I want to end it off with you to let people know how they could donate to the Circle of Brotherhood and just have you say any last words.
Last words very clearly. First of all, when they talk about put your money where your mouth is, many folk know the situation that we were in as an organization, having a federal grant immediately just lost. The Health Foundation came to our aid with a $100,000 donation, and do you know our brothers here, they matched that immediately.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So far, we haven't had to lay off a staff member, but right now we're literally week to week, day to day. So support this initiative and don't act like what happened didn't happen. And my last thing is, when I first came into contact, I was like, are these numbers right? Are you sure this is going on here? We understand, my brothers and sisters, y'all are the unsung heroes in this.
That's right.
That's why I got on my shirt today that says not one more. Because I know one of you all, you stepped in and you stopped the argument from happening.
Absolutely.
You stopped somebody from running up on somebody else. You told somebody to chill out. We all played a role. And y'all know my Miami peoples, if we can do this in 4-7 and 4-2, watch out, Miami. Support this work.
Appreciate you, Brother Lau.
Right back at it.
All right, gentlemen, love.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank
All
you.
right.